Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Welcome to the High Vibe Zone. I'm super excited. I'm always excited, right? I think I looked at some of the lives that I've done in the past and I do the same hands and the super excited, but it's true. I'm super excited. Anytime I can get on live with you guys, I know we're about to have a good time. And as promised from last week, let me introduce you to the new Mary and Jane. Here they are. We're trying them out a bit, seeing how they like it up there, but introduced to Mary and Jane. The other ones needed to go outside. And so we'll see how these hang. So, okay, you guys, I want to just preface, or I want to start by saying, first of all, welcome to the High Vibe Zone. You are here, you are watching. Thank you so much for being here. Drop in the comments your name, where you're from, what you're grateful for. I find that there's a lot of lives that I listen to that do have that sort of same intro, what you're grateful for. It's always good to start off with gratitude. So what are you grateful for? Drop it out there, put it out there. And I think it's a really good flow into the conversation today, but I won't give you too much. This is the High Vibe Zone, where we talk about high vibrational content or just conversations that lead us to a higher vibration, higher consciousness. So I'm super excited for this guest that's joining us today. Let me tell you, I spent probably less than 30 minutes with her in the beginning. And I was like, I need to know more of you. And you need to come on my LinkedIn Live. Like, I just immediately fell in love. It was like, that was it. So I knew that I wanted to bring her on. And so I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about her when she comes on. But I'm so excited to just have the space with her, because we are not only talking about a little bit of her story, which I think is dynamic. But we're also, this is Manifestation March, y'all. What do you in this moment want to manifest? So important. We're going to get into some of that too. So, okay. Hey, Michael, thank you for joining us. He is grateful for right now in this moment. Yes, Michael, you are something very special. We should do another live together. I think it might be time. I've been watching you in the background. So excited for you. Okay, without further ado, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, I am going to introduce you to Sparkle Lindsay. Hey. Hey, welcome to the High Vibe Zone.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Oh my gosh. I didn't want to give too much in the intro, but I was just like, honestly, I'm so excited to just share space with you. Like, you're just something so special, and I'm so super excited for this conversation. As Michael says, two amazing souls. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Mike, it's good to see you. I'm glad that you feel we have amazing souls.
Mike's usually not wrong about a few things. You know, it's interesting how he operates. And I love it. I'm a huge fan. Well, as we get started, every LinkedIn Live High Vibe Zone, we start with an encouraging word of the day. So I have my cards here, which I'm going to shuffle. And so far, the cards have always coincided or collaborated or did some type of coexisting with the conversation that we're having. So we'll see what we get, and then I'll pass it to you. And yes, it's a little on the spot, but I have no doubt that you got this. I'm so excited.
Let's do it.
Yes. Are you sipping tea or coffee?
Oh, I'm sipping some coffee, girl.
Okay. Do you have a favorite type of coffee? Are you like medium, dark, light roast? What's your vibe?
I kind of try all of them, but I really like the medium roast.
Okay. All right.
I didn't really drink a lot of coffee, till I went and decided to get sober, and I didn't want to drink alcohol no more. So I now drink coffee.
Nice. Hey, you got it. One of the things that's very interesting, and maybe we'll get into this, is anytime you give up something, we can't have a void. right? And before we give up something, we need to be able to replace that. So I love how you shared. Yeah, so coffee it is. I feel that.
Right. And as soon as I when I was talking to you the last time, I was chewing on ice. So I figured coffee might be a little better. I got some little things I like that keep me from wanting to use.
I like that. Hey, ice is good. I remember, so ice is a high demand in labor.
Yes.
High demand in labor.
Now, I'm an ice connoisseur, though, because there's a certain type of ice.
I've heard that. I've heard that Kaiser has the best crushed ice.
Yes, they do. But if you go to these different gas stations, you want some ice. I mean, I'm your girl. I can tell you which ones are good and which ones aren't,
What? Okay, what's the top gas station ice?
Like Come and Go's got really good ice.
Okay.
Got good ice. Sonic always has great ice.
Oh, Sonic has very good ice.
Yes, but
how they do that.
I don't know, but it's really good. And so I used to love wine, and I used to do wine tasting. So then I just said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to be an ice taster.
I love that. I think that's definitely LinkedIn worthy. Should be adding that somewhere, because there's a lot of people that are into ice. It's a thing, and I only know a little bit of it from being a doula, but like it is a thing. So nice. Okay, learning more about you already. I love it. Okay, so the card that I pulled, I put it face down. This is I like I said, I do not pre-make these cards in terms of what we're going to talk about, but this card I think is perfect for our conversation. Okay. And the card encouraging word is keep moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
Moving forward. That's what we got for you guys today. Is our encouraging word is keep moving forward. And I'm so excited to talk about this. Lindsay, what does keep moving forward mean to you?
Well, actually today, my quote actually says, actually, I have some people who said they can't get on to the thingy, to the live. Let me see if I do it. Let me just put it. Jason Tracy asked too how to get on. Maybe they have to.
Are they on LinkedIn?
Yeah. I tagged them in the thing.
If they go to your profile, they should be able to. And Maria says she's on LinkedIn. It's working. So maybe, Maria, maybe if you drop the link somewhere and tag them, but they should, or drop the link in the invite that is on the LinkedIn page.
It says, I accepted the invite, but I'm not seeing how to get in. Go to my profile.
Yeah. So Mike's saying, go to Sharice's page. Top post. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. All right. So you were talking about moving forward.
Yes. What is that? Do you want to wait for them to get in?
It's okay.
Okay. All right.
So when one of the biggest he said, I'm in now. Good.
Okay, cool. Tell them to drop a comment so they can say hi. Or you can probably hear us. Drop a comment.
Comment, Jay. So the difference is that it's so interesting because my quotes. So I send out quotes every day, every morning quote.
Okay.
And the one today, which is very interesting, that you said, it says, it talks about moving forward.
Does it really?
Yes. And that's why I find it so interesting. Today, it actually says, as I've been going through my journey, I realized just how much easier it has been by facing my emotions head on. I've been practicing the gift of walking through the emotion, not around it. Free yourself with the true work needed to help you move forward. You deserve it. And so the quote says, good morning, the only way out is through. So that's pretty wild. You pulled that card.
That's what I'm saying. These things are so like I won't even use, they are so aligned universally when we talk. And the only time I've had trouble with these cards is when it's been me by myself. I'm like, I've done this one, I've done this one, I've done this one. But while you were talking, I was pulling and I put it face down. And I think that this is a message that is something that's very important to hear. So what did you write that post?
Yes. I wrote the top post. I wrote the quote to go with it, everything. So each morning, hey Jay. So each morning I actually do a really big routine for myself, just because so basically just a little bit about myself real quick. I am a recovering alcoholic addict, a year and 10 months sober as of last Wednesday. So
congratulations.
Woo, woo, to all of
yeah, there we go.
There you go. So basically every morning for like a year and 10 months now, I have been waking up in the morning and I have a routine to get me started with my day, and help myself believe in what the day is and letting life live me. You know, so my routine actually involves waking up in the morning and I do my meditation from bed, because that is when my mind is not moving. You know, it's not going as much, so it actually can consume more.
Yeah.
I tried to meditate in the afternoon and then I was like, it's not, I can't do this. Then I tried the nighttime, but then I fall asleep. So then finally I woke up one morning and I was like, I should do it right now. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, I usually will do I will do my meditation, get dressed, do a workout, stretches.
Yeah.
And, then from there, get dressed for the day, turn on my music to get pumped like we were this morning.
Yeah. I so needed that. I
turned on the thing, Sharice, and I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's my hype song on the Peloton. Yeah. That's my hype song.
Yes.
My husband was like, that's your hype song? I'm like, that's my hype song.
You was getting it. I could tell. I couldn't see you at first, but I was like, she getting it.
Yeah, I was very happy. Yeah.
So I believe that rejuvenating and having a routine is so important in not just sobriety, in life.
Yeah.
A lot of us get up and we're like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. Or some of us have a hard time getting up because we have nothing to look forward to, right? Yeah. So when you talk about moving forward and looking forward and moving forward, it is what we have to do in order for things to happen. And we have to believe in where we're moving forward to make that happen, you know?
Yeah, so, I like that. Thank you. That's amazing. There's a couple things, like, first of all, I love your routine. And I think the meditation, the fact that you identified when the best time for you to meditate is really important.
Yeah.
And for people that are trying to get into meditation, you know, figuring that part out is going to be it's a lot more easier.
Yes.
And you can always switch it up and find what works for you. It doesn't need to be this rigid thing.
Right.
So I love that you have this routine for yourself, because in the times where you don't want to move forward, this really does help you get somewhere, right? At least you've gotten your routine down. The keep moving forward reminds me of this movie called The Robinsons, or I forget, it's like a Disney movie, and it takes place in the future, but also in the past. And the tagline is like, keep moving forward. And with all the innovations and all of the things that we're doing, you might have, and I think he was an orphan and he was trying to find a family, and he had, you know, this really interesting backstory, but it was like, keep moving forward, because you just never know where your journey is going to lead you. And, you know, I take the philosophy of, hey, if I woke up this morning, there's something for me to do, keep moving. And sometimes it takes me a while to figure out. So this morning, just to let you know, this morning, I was just like, I don't know what's going on, what's happening. And my husband gave me some insights. And I was like, okay, that's exactly what's going on energetically, physically with me.
Right.
And I was like, I need to put on some music. And it wasn't because I need to put on some music because I have this LinkedIn Live and I need to show up. I'm in this high vibe zone. It was not even about that. It was like, if I I need to move forward with what's going on, and music really does help me.
Yeah.
And so I was like dancing, and I was like moving. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I need in this moment. And then I got to see you and Maria, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything is fine. Everything is more than fine. Everything is beautiful. But it's like when you get stuck, it's so challenging. So what are those things that you can do to keep moving forward? And I think that this is a beautiful segue into a little bit of your story. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story. And I'm going to be taking notes for sure, but please go ahead and kind of share your story from wherever you want to start.
Well, you know, a big portion of my story really starts out with me having a lot of challenges at a younger age. You know, I got really sick in the middle of my college basketball career, and I was unable to walk for about 6 to 8 months. And that was really intense for me because I was told I'd never walk again and I'd never play ball ever again. So you hear me say I never play ball ever again. I don't even know about walking, right? No.
Right.
I was like, I'm never gonna play basketball again. And I'm like, wait, that means I'm never gonna walk again.
Right.
Well, within all of that, I retaught myself to walk. Okay. I played another 2 years of college basketball, and I was like, yeah, I did that, but I never cried. I never went through any of it. I talked with my dad, and I said, I'm going to get through this. And I had what they call that strong woman syndrome, you know, where I don't have time to cry. I got to put an H on my chest and handle it. With that, you know, I didn't realize how much I was actually suppressing at the time, you know, not being able to walk. Now I have 3 autoimmune conditions. You know, I'm just going through life, you know, so I jump in, I'm an executive for 3 big box companies for 13 years. I ran teams of about 2,000 to 3,000 at times because I ran a lot of remodels for big box retailers. And all along, I was doing so much work for everyone else, so much work, Sharice, that I literally was exhausted and I had no time for me. Not because of anybody else, but it was my fault, obviously. I know that now. Before, you know, I was like, everybody wants me to do this and everybody wants me to do that. And then I started thinking about it, and I'd get a little upset and resentful towards a lot of people, wondering why I was always the go-to. So a lot happened to me. I actually had an associate kill himself in front of me. And the trauma hit me like crazy. And at the time, I had been drinking a lot. I had been drinking. I was really into cocaine. And when that happened, I started having nightmares, real bad nightmares. And I was drinking around the clock, you know, drinking, doing whatever I could to stay awake because I didn't want to have the nightmares. And at the time, I really didn't know what trauma meant. You know, trauma for a lot of African Americans, we don't quite know that stuff yet. We're now starting to learn the mental health piece between depression and everything else. But at this point, it was just handle it, right? Just go through it. You know what I mean? Everybody goes through it, right? So I thought, I didn't know there was trauma therapists and stuff like that. You know, I went through it, right? So as I got going, I also ended up getting diagnosed with lupus, probably 6 months within the time that all of this happened. So my life was just flipped, turned upside down. I was still trying to go to work. I was having nightmares around going to the bathroom because of what I had seen. So I was going to other bathrooms. Then I'd be like, I can't make it back to work. I'll just drink. I don't care. You know, it was just a very intense time for me. And I was still doing really well at work. And I'm still doing really well. You know, they gave me
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Tell me about it.
Wow. What you're saying to me is, one, I'm amazed, but 2, not surprised, given the ecosystem of the workplace. and how it's almost glorified to work, 70 hours a week. It's glorified to not really put your needs and self first. This is a total side, but like one of the things I talk about with my tribe, or we've a couple of us is when we're on our cycles, when we start our cycles, we are taking those times for ourselves, because those are very sacred moments. And women, and 1 out of 10 women deal with I'm going to say it ends with meteotrit. Endo. Do you know what I'm talking?
Endometriosis.
Thank you.
There we go. See?
There we go. So they're working through that. 1 out of 10 women.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm shocked. I'm like, wow, but I'm also not surprised given the ecosystem of the workplace. But please continue.
Well, I think the issue comes down to that as an athlete and someone who, I graduated with a 4.2 GPA as well in high school. There has never been like I didn't make it today. Nuh-uh. That doesn't work. In my gene, in my DNA, in what we do, my family, everything else, we finish and we get it done. We think about what happened later. And sometimes I wouldn't think about it at all. So it may have bothered me, but it festered. Okay. And so that festering came a lot of, I believe, autoimmune conditions, because I was festering stress and anxiety like no other, and at the same time, during all of this, working hard and everything else, I never cried. I didn't cry for 13 years. Okay. Do you? Now I cry all the time. I love it. But when I was, Sharice is like really sorry. When I was like, when I was young, it just wasn't meant to, you cry for a little bit, but fix it.
Right.
And so I became this fixer. I was fixing things, making sure everything was good, fixing everything but myself. Ultimately giving all my water away, and then I was over there in the desert with nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. And then mad because I gave everybody my water away, and I'm mad. I could have saved them for me, right?
Yeah.
So that that happened, and I just remember I'm sitting in the office, and I'm like, they called me in, and I was like, oh, probably gonna like lose my job. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm slipping, and they're like, well, we want to give you a promotion. And at this point, Sharice, I'm like miserable. Okay. We're talking like drinking. I'm miserable. I'm like, people are still calling me to fix it. And I'm like, okay, thank you guys for the promotion, but I gotta go. So I left and I went to treatment. I went to go get me some help. Girl, I went to get me some help. And those 4 little letters, help. Oof. Talk about bringing your ego down. As soon as I asked for help, one of the biggest things I could do, as soon as I asked for help, everybody came out of the woodworks to help me.
Wow.
It was one simple thing. And before you know it, everybody around me, sober warriors, family, whatever, said, let's go get some help. And I can say that's probably one of the biggest blessings in the world, to think that you've been laughing, you feel like you got to do everything on your own, because you grow up that way sometimes. I'm the oldest of 5. So you feel like you got to take care of that stuff, but ultimately, when all of my brothers and sisters and my, my sober warriors, some of those people that I met along the way came out, I felt like I could breathe again. And I knew then the supports were going to help me out through my journey into where I am now, as a recovery coach who helps people help themselves get sober. I also help executives find work-life balance. My work-life balance was off, not good. Okay. So anybody here that needs help with work-life balance, please let me know.
Talk to Sparkle, because 13 years, no tears between alcohol and cocaine.
Yeah.
And promoting. So you are like, on paper, you are doing really well, but inside you are not.
Eating myself up. I was eating inside, just trying to go through the motions.
Yeah.
I had, let's put it this way. I was sitting in a room in the corner and I had built this brick wall in front of me, and I was on autopilot. So that means I was doing everything, right? But I wasn't there.
Yeah.
You get this glaze in your eyes, this dead look. That's just it's just a body, just a shell. Nothing inside. And that's what that drugs and alcohol can do to you. You may be looking good on the outside, but most people who know you and know who Sparkle is knew something was missing. Something was missing,
Did your family ever reach out to you during that time frame and say anything observant, or?
They reached out to me all the time, but me being in my addiction was like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Got it. Yeah.
And finally, because I'll tell you one thing, one of the biggest things about anything addiction wise is that the person going through the addiction, whether it's food, any of that stuff, right? Eating disorders, whatever, we have to recognize that it's going on in order for us to want to fix it. A million people could have told me, Sparkle, you need to go to treatment.
Right.
And went right on saying, you need to go to treatment.
Right.
So I knew it was time. I knew it. And I knew if I didn't make the steps, I was going to get really, really sick. I was going to get really sick. I already was battling lupus. I was giving myself a shot once a week of a form of chemo and taking shots after. So yeah, that's where.
Wow. What you're talking about with addiction is so profound, because I have some family members that have dealt with addiction in the past. And one of the things that I noticed, and someone recently said this to me. So the drug of choice was meth.
Okay.
And this one girl said to me, she described it in this way, and I never thought of it this way. She's like, I knew that I looked a mess. I knew that I was out there doing this and doing that. I knew, everything. But do you remember ever as a kid going down, going to a swimming pool and then diving all the way down to the swimming pool and like holding your breath and kind of just sitting there? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember that, pretending I was like Little Mermaid, little things like that. And so she's like, you get to the point where you can't hold your breath anymore and you will do anything to get out of that pool. She's like, that's the equivalent of what I needed for my next hit. Like, it was that feeling that I could not. And I was just like, what a horrible feeling.
Yes.
And while somebody on the outside's like, just don't do it. It's like, no, if it's translating into going to air.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very there's this, it is really a huge journey. And what I also hear from you is like, through some of this stuff, your body was manifesting illness.
Yes.
From what you were doing.
Yes. I think the body was manifesting, but remember, the difference is that alcohol and addiction is something that actually is, I always say, it doesn't define me as a person. But it was a portion of my life and it almost sucked me in. Okay. And let me tell you how crazy this is. So January 2021. Okay. Yeah. No lie. I'm at about a year and I'm at a year and 10 months. So I was about a year and 8 months.
Okay.
I had the biggest slip. I didn't relapse. Okay. I didn't have a reoccurrence. There's a different way we use lingo. Yeah. I didn't have a reoccurrence, but I was so close, Cherie. Like, you don't even realize how quick it can creep up on us. And that's why it's a one day at a time thing. And that's why moving forward is so important. If you look back for 1 second, you're going right back sitting there wondering how you got there. The difference is that there were little things. I did what they called an emotional reoccurrence. I had an emotional reoccurrence. Okay, so I felt all the effects. Like, I even woke up, felt like I had a hangover.
Wow.
Really didn't. And then I couldn't sleep for like 4 days. I mean, my emotions were all over the place. And I almost just like shut down. And I felt myself going to a depression. My body started swelling, just my lupus started acting up. And I was like, holding on. I said, wait a minute. But Because I work a program, with the legs to my table, because that's what I use for my clients, is helping them have supports when stuff gets not good.
Right.
Okay. So when things are not good and you're holding on and you're looking at your phone and it's 8:36 p.m. and you go, I got time, I could go to the liquor store.
Right.
You better go ahead and call those supports, but they'll probably call you first.
Right.
Because they know you're not in your right mind.
Right. That's amazing. Life is not linear. I think we talked a little bit about that. Like, life is not linear. There's always going to be something, but I love how not only from your routine, but also the program, from the realization of like, look, this is where I want to be. So I might not have everything I need in my backpack to get there, but I know that I can ask for the tools. I can ask for the help. I know where the pit stops are.
Yes. And I think the greatest part about it was that, like my sponsor called me. And my sponsor's like, what are you doing? That's exactly how she sounded.
Right.
What are you doing?
That's amazing.
My therapist calls me and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes.
Was everywhere. And my room. And she's like, and then my best friend, 4 years sober. She's 4 years sober. She goes, I'm at your door.
Oh.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing is this: when you feel support, when you feel loved, when you know somebody says, I love you, tomorrow will be better.
Yep.
You're moving forward. And the people you have in your circle are moving forward with you. And that piece right there is something that I would never, ever change. I am so grateful for that. And I believe everybody should have an opportunity to have those supports call and say, what are you doing?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I do that. I do that with myself. I'm like, all right, Trace, what are you doing? What's going on here? Where are we at? Where do we need to go? Do we need to go to mama? Do we need to go? Do we need to go to nature? Do we need to go on a solo retreat? Like, where are we at with some of that? Because sometimes it can get overwhelming. One thing that I thought about when you were talking was and this is from the book The Alchemist. I think we talked a little bit about it. You said you're still going to read it, right?
Yeah, I'm putting it on Audible. Nice.
Yeah, I did on Audible. I like the Audible version. And there's a line in there that talks about when we want something, everything in the universe conspires to help us get it. Mm-hmm. And, you wanted your higher vibrational self wanted to get better. And so the universe heard that, and then it made the way. God made the way for everybody to show up in your life. I don't know if you can hear the zoo in my house.
No, I can't.
You said, okay, cool. I'm like, I don't know if you can hear the zoo. 5 kids, that's what we got going on over here too. It's just like kind of distracting. But, I think this is a beautiful flow into talking about the journey of to manifest, like how, because we touched a little bit on it when we first talked, and you had such a beautiful, like, how do you manifest? Because we know we can manifest negativity, right? We can manifest that. And you talked about it with some of the stuff that you were dealing with, is how it showed up, how it manifested physically. Yes. How do we manifest from the other side? What are your thoughts on that as you've, seen this duality of.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, first things first. So I just got a tattoo of a blue butterfly.
Nice.
And it was just about 3 days ago with a really good friend of mine.
Nice.
Who went through treatment with me. And the reason why I got that butterfly is because the day after I went into treatment, I dream in black and white. Okay. So my dream was of like meadows and all these really cool things. And then out of nowhere, for the first time in my life, what went across my dream was 3 sets of electric blue butterflies. And it was the only thing I could see in color in my dream.
Wow.
So I thought that was weird, but then the next night there was another part of my dream that I was on a stage, everything was black and white, and the only thing that had color was my guitar, and it was orange. So I felt right then and there, maybe this is my spiritual enlightenment. Maybe this is my awakening. I talked to my family about it and they're like, that's pretty odd. I was like, I'm actually starting to see color. But until this day, even now, I only dream in black and white. But I always have a portion of a color. So the blue butterfly signifies, I feel like, awakening for me. Now let's get to the manifestation part here. So I probably was in about a year. I was about a year and 2 months sober at the time. And I was sitting at a red light and I felt this really, really sad feeling. Someone was crying, but I was not crying. So I wasn't sad. But whoever I was around, I was sad, and they were sad. So I'm like looking around like, who is crying like so hardcore right now? And I look around and there's a man, he's on the bus stop. And he is crying so hard. And I can feel him. I could feel him crying, and I kind of looked around because I was like, well, I hope that not everybody's going to start crying and I'm start feeling all this because I don't know what I'm going to do, So I get to where I got to go. I literally am like, I got to call my therapist because I got to tell her. And she goes, Sparkle, you're an empath. The more sober you get, the more your sixth sense come out, the more intuition you have, the more your clarity happens. So you're ready. And I was like, oh, okay. So I've started to, I start to feel people and what they're feeling inside. And I knew then, like everything that I've been speaking and talking about, I've been able to pinpoint how people feel by feeling that and then being able to tell them what they need to hear, which has been a blessing because some people say, God, I really needed that, and for me, that was a good portion of like, I'm doing the right things. I need to continue my journey in helping people help themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So as I got going, there's all these little things now that I am allowing to happen. I'm allowing life to happen. I used to pull against the universe. We cannot do that. The universe is on our side. It's on my side, I will say. And it has taken a lot of practice for me to allow things to be.
Yeah.
And so the gift of being, for one, being by yourself, and the gift of allowing things around you to just be is probably the biggest blessing and the biggest gift you can have to not being so stressed. To not being stressed, not wanting to use, what I mean? Focus on you and what you want to manifest. And so, ultimately, I talk to a lot of my clients and I tell them it's okay to say a positive affirmation of who we are, right? Yeah. Like, I am beautiful. I am smart.
Yeah.
I know you're beautiful. I know you're smart, right? But what do you intend to be? Ultimately, if we say what we intend to be or what we intend to have or what we're deserving of or entitled to, and we throw it out there to the universe and say we believe it, we manifest it, it's inevitable. It will happen. But ultimately, a lot of us don't say what we intend to have in our lives. We don't even know where to start with it. So it's important, like you said, sometimes you check yourself and say, do I need to talk to mama? Do I need to, right? Ultimately, checking ourselves at the door helps us manifest what we really want because we are more in tune with ourselves. And so that all this work has been happening to me. That's what I've been doing. I've been sitting there checking with myself in the mornings, noon, whenever I feel like checking. I always got to check in with myself. Like, Sparkle, what are you doing now? Come, okay, the next hour may be better,
Right. Exactly. I love that. And I don't know if refresh my memory. Did we talk about the epitaph and the title? Did we talk a little bit about that at all?
We did.
We did. So there's two things that I think I'd love to share and hear your thoughts on, and also share with the people that are listening. In regards to the manifestation part, I like people to think about, if you've ever gone to a Cheesecake Factory or a Denny's and you have this large menu. I mean, they have pretty good menus, right? Huge menus. I think Cheesecake Factory might have a larger menu than Denny's. It's big. Imagine, let's say you and I are sitting there about to order, and you order what you want. I'd like, this, and the other, and thank you. And they take it. And I'm still deciding. And then, they put your order in, and I'm still sitting there deciding, looking through the menu. And then all of a sudden they come back and I've decided, or at least I think I have, and I put my order in. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what, Sparkle, I'm just going to go make sure they do a few things to the food in the back. I'm just going to go back there. And can you imagine me going back in there and be like, oh, but can you do it this way? And then I remember this time when I was 5, and then I liked it with this kind of thing. And if you could do that and you could do this, first of all, they probably kick me out of the kitchen. Second of all, I probably won't, most likely will not probably, I will not get my food.
No, you ain't.
The cleaner we can make our order, the easier it is for it to be delivered. Mm-hmm. And that is where I believe a lot of people get hung up, is there's other past stories that come in. So they're going back into the kitchen after they've already asked for what they wanted. They're like, I would like a job where I am satisfied in this, and the other, but I don't have 5 years of experience. But I, this is the industry that needs, this type of skill set. It's like you're going back and just canceling your order or making it more difficult. Maybe, and then in the event, because again, the universe is conspiring to help you get it. If you do get your order, could be way off than what you wanted because you just threw in all this other extra stuff. And if you had just left it alone,
you would have been fine.
Would have been fine.
And I think that's what's happening is that we like to not keep things simple. Like I not keep it. We like to, like, we're sitting there. So I would be looking at you like, now Sharice gonna go in the back kitchen.
Yep. And you're not gonna want to eat with me again. I tell you that. You're not gonna want to go out there with me again.
We'll be here all day, or we gonna have to leave. And I'll have to be there like, yeah, it's okay. It's good, Sharice. It's okay. Forget it. We're not gonna go back there.
Let's just no. I'll make stuff at home, right?
No, the things you talk about with clarity is like knowing the mission. I just left Springs Recovery Connection, but Kathy Plush, the owner of the company, one of the biggest things she talked to me was, do you know your mission and do you know your why? Well, every day when I wake up, I ask myself, is the mission still what you are believing in? Because once you know the mission, now guess what? You have the clarity, right? The clarity is what you just talked about. If the food was more clear, then the person would know exactly what you wanted. Yeah. So if your mission is clear, and it may not be completely clear, right? You know where you're going and you don't allow others to put their hands in the mix.
Right.
You can move forward and you can be successful that way. And there's been a lot in my journey where I've had to slow myself down and I've had to say, wait a minute, am I getting outside of my mission? Like, remember, I'm here to help people help themselves. Right. So if you're doing something that is not doing that, and that's what you love to do, we got to figure out where things went wrong or what's going on, right? What got you off kilter, right? So being able to recognize when things are, for one, when you're transforming, because for me, I mean, my transformation has been wild. Every month through the milestone of sobriety, something is changing for me. Right. But I also have had to let go of things that I've wanted to be comfortable with. And I've had to, leave organizations that I love, but I feel a greater calling. And then capitalizing when you leave something. Yeah. For me, just leaving the company that helped me get started in finding out my why and what I stand for. It's time for me to leave. It's time for me to fly, right? And being able to have a great celebration about it, okay? Most alcoholic addicts are like, I'm out.
Right.
I don't care. I don't know if they're crying or not, you know? So to be able to finalize something, congratulate yourself on something, and then sit in the happiness. Okay, we always sit in like, well, I should do this better, or I should do this better. Right. But what about when you kill it? What about when you do a great job at something? Sit there and say, I did that.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me dust my shoulders.
Yeah.
Let me take time to embrace that, embrace the good, right?
I think there also is this concept of worthiness that's attached to the celebration. Are you worthy of your celebration?
Yes.
And what that looks like. I just want to throw up this comment here from Anthony. And I believe he's talking about recovery and, never had that support. Yes, it can be hell when you don't have that support in any context, right? It doesn't just have to be an addiction. It could just be like you're going through life and it's like going at it without support is not how we're designed as humans. That's not what we are. And it wasn't until I went to paying attention that I had angels always walking with me and began to deliver messages to let me know that I wasn't alone. Beautiful.
And you know what, Anthony, I'll say right now, one of the biggest portions out here, my aunt, she's also in recovery, but she made the comment to me. It was right around Christmas, and I was about 7 months sober. She said, the greatest thing about you, Sparkle, is you have now learned to jump in your higher power's lap and let them take you where you need to go. And I knew right then and there, I said, I'm on this mission and I'm not stopping. You know what I mean? And I'm not stopping because it's for me.
Right.
The difference is that there's a lot of people who feel like when you say, I'm doing this for me, that it's selfish. No, my dad always told me, my mother too, you came in this world by yourself.
Right.
You're going to leave this world probably by yourself. So you might want to get to know yourself because you're the only person that's going to know yourself.
Right. Yeah.
When you do, when you find it, something clicks, you know that you can manifest and evolve anything you want because it's inevitable, because you are doing it.
Right.
Exactly. And so ultimately, you've got to grab yourself, a hold of yourself, grab a hold. So hold space for yourself to give yourself an opportunity to find what you need for you, along with supports and along with a higher power if you have one, or whatever it is you believe in, because we're not going to forget about the gift of energy, right? And when we do these things, we can manifest because we believe in it, you know? And the quote I sent yesterday is what we use in Taekwondo. I was in Taekwondo. I was black belt at 13. And my father, he's a Reiki master. And he also was my instructor for Taekwondo. So the quote he used to use, and we used it as when we would bow out, was, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it.
There it is.
And that right there came back full circle after being a black belt at 13 and then going from being a black belt to now. That same exact thing stuck with me all the way through because I can achieve it. And so that's what keeps me sober. That's the things that keep me sober. And the fact that I believe that we can manifest and be better for ourselves when we do achieve it and believe it. I think a lot of it too is hearing somebody else say, Sparkle, I believe in you.
And I think that's a beautiful segue to you guys. Oh my gosh. Is this Hi, Sparkle's mom.
Hey, mom.
Oh my God, I love that.
That's my number one fan right there. She'd be sitting there, be the only one in the concert with a flag like Sparkle.
Hey, that's
like,
mama. That's mama. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Miss Lindsay, for joining us in the High Vibe Zone. This is amazing. I just love it. And then Michael said something really interesting. He said, still working on it, but yes, just being is important and powerful, dropping all the escapism tactics.
You know, Mike, that's a big thing too. I'll tell you, this pandemic, by the way, has had us, our higher power said, all you guys go to your room and think about what you've done. Because you'll be by yourself for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a humanity reset for sure. It's like, what are we doing? Which I want to get to. So the epitaph. The epitaph. Let's talk about that for a second. So we were talking and I was like, basically, if our LinkedIn header or title, would we put that on our epitaph? And for those that don't know, an epitaph is what goes on your tombstone. I remember when I first heard epitaph, I was like, what is that? And then when I learned it, I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, when I think about it, because we're navigating such a very interesting transition with our humanity. People are being, they're awakening to higher vibrational components of themselves. They are finding spirituality in deeper depths. They are looking at what is it that I need to do to leave what I need to leave in this world. And they're just there's these questions. Right. And not only that, but how can I contribute to other people in this world? I know that we have a whole nother generation coming up behind us that are like, I don't want to just work at the same company that this person worked at. This company needs to be on a mission, on a purpose that's greater than them. So how are companies that aren't really doing that going to adjust for this newer generation? They're probably not going to survive. But going back to the epitaph, you know, what if we for a day on LinkedIn changed our titles to what we want on our epitaph?
Right. Because what did I end up saying there? I think I said I definitely wouldn't have now.
Program, something around program or.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't because I wouldn't put peer support specialist on my tombstone. Right. I put Sparkle Lindsay on there because I wasn't just defined as a peer support specialist. I have a lot of things. When people hear Cherise Fontes or Sparkle Lindsay, there's a lot involved in that power, right? Yeah. So if you had just peer support specialists up there, it'd be like, all right.
Right? Like why would you know, it wouldn't
but you know.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing to think about. It's a good for those that are working on manifesting. That question is a good starting point to providing the clarity and asking for the clarity. Because if you would not put your LinkedIn title, and I know LinkedIn's a professional network, but we talk about all kinds of stuff on LinkedIn, right? So I think we can muddy it up a little bit. But if you were to put your title, the same thing you would put on your epitaph, or if you don't even know what that is, it's like getting into that knowingness of yourself and the knowingness.
You know, Cherise, another thing is, you guys, is remember to be curious about yourself. Okay, use the words. Okay, the way we use words are so powerful. It just makes me just warm inside. Cherise is like, really?
I love it.
It makes me warm inside because I never really would have used curious and about myself in the same sentence. You know, I said it before, research your reoccurrence. Okay. If something happened to you, figure out what was happening before you decided to do it.
Yep.
So you can start to learn about what you do and what makes you tick, right? Then you can manifest. You can throw it in the universe and say, when this trigger happens or when these things go on, help me to practice this so I can move forward. And I know that it's trying to set me back.
Right.
So I think those are the things. Being curious about yourself means finding the inner being, finding the inner you, and not being afraid to touch every part of it.
Yeah.
And you may not touch the left side too much, but then the right side might think I can deal with this one today. And then you just keep going because you're going to be with you for the rest of your life.
For the rest
And
of
if you don't know you, right, Sharice, if you don't know you, how is anybody else supposed to know you?
That's so true. I remember my sisters would be telling me, they're like, Sharice, they call me Cece. They're like, Sharice, they're like, Cece, I want a boyfriend. I want this. And I'm like, this is what you do.
Yeah.
I said, what would you do? And I asked them, I was like, what would you do with this boyfriend? And they're like, we go do this, and we go do that, we go do this. And I said, okay, start doing that for yourself.
Go do it with yourself.
Go do that with yourself first. Of course, they didn't listen to me, but that's neither here nor there. But like, it's the fact that, yes, you are going to have to sit with yourself. This morning, you know, one of the things that I mentioned, like my husband, I knew something was off, and he's like, I think you're running you're running your lower chakras a little too high. Which is, and when there's an imbalance, it really does throw things off. And especially with going into your moon or your cycle as a woman, it's really challenging sometimes because we stay in upper chakras, but if I'm running my lower, it's more aggressive.
Yeah.
Or, and so I was like, what's going on? And he's like, I think and I got curious, just like you said. I was like, wait, what's going on? Okay. So now I can go through the rest of the day and say, okay, I just need to play some very good music.
Yes, I got exactly.
What were you gonna say? Go.
Yeah. Well, I think the big piece is that, like, so around my milestone, I noticed this, like when I'm getting ready to be like, so like last week, my date was the 4th for a year and 10 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 days before that, you don't really want to be around me. I know it because like I'm agitated. I'm irritable. I'm like, somebody call me and ask me, can we talk? And I'm like, aren't we talking? And they're like, never mind. So then I started recognizing, I was like, ooh, Sparkle, you got to hold some space for yourself. You need to be with yourself. Go watch a movie. Don't touch nothing. Don't touch no social media. Turn everything off. Watch a movie for 2 hours. I'm still working on the 2-hour piece, but but go do something with yourself, because you need some time to clear all of that stuff out of your mind, get yourself right. And then it's like, as soon as the 4th hits and the milestone's good, because like up until then, I'm like crying and I'm like, nobody understands what's going on. And everybody thinks that I'm not even Sparkle anymore. They're like, wait, what?
How did we get? And that's the thing. I was like, wait, how did I get to this point? And all of this stuff that has to get, the things that I'm wanting to get done, I'm like, I'm ready to flip a table. And I'm like, I'm like, no. And
then, you know what? Take it a little step further. You look at the things you got to get done, right? And then you look at it and you're like, all these things have to get done. And I don't know. And then you write them down. You're like, none of that stuff has to be done today. It's all for future. Now future tripping.
You're yes. Oh my gosh. It's so, but it goes back to kind of what you said earlier. It's like, get curious about yourself, asking yourself these things of like, why am I responding that way? And I do a really good job. I do a very, very good job with that before I even, before I put out, I'm aware of what's going on. And so when I have little ones around, I've been very mindful that they don't take this on. So while I'm trying to figure this out, because it's not, I got the little one crawling on me, the other one trying to show me this. And if I'm in those feelings and I'm not being aware, I don't want to see your painting and get off me. And they don't need that energy, right? So while I'm trying to figure these things out, getting curious, why is this happening? And then the answer came.
And then you're right. The awareness and the mindfulness of others around us. See, the piece is that we don't realize, we don't know what being aware means until you're actually, someone challenging you to be aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Then before you know it, you become mindful of the way you talk to people.
Yeah.
You start to find compassion for yourself and others.
Right.
And then from there, you can, you can manifest what you want because you know that there are others around you, and you want to be mindful of what's going on with them as well. Right now, we're not taught that. We're taught to just do what we do. But for me, I've just noticed that being able to find compassion for myself and others has opened up my heart chakra so much. It has given me so much happiness. I can feel what they need, just like now they can feel what I need because I'm using my words to tell them what is going on with me.
Right.
You can tell your husband, you can tell a friend, let them know how you're feeling daily so someone knows how to approach you.
Right.
When we don't, that's when arguments happen. Everybody goes around in a circle, and then they all walk away, and then we wonder why we never got anywhere with it. Tell each other why you're mad. If you're angry, say it. Don't sit there and just be mad.
Right. It's, it's something that I try and teach my little humans, very often. I'm like, if that's how, this is the word for that, or do you want to use another word, or what does that look like? And being aware, we have a meditation area over here, and at any moment, the kids come in and they go and sit down and they do breathing and just kind of, they check in with themselves if they need it. So, it's very, and I'm learning at a young age, those things can be taught because those are our coping mechanisms that help us then become more resilient. And what I really love and want to say here for people that are watching and specifically kind of going into the journey to manifest is your vibration creates your manifestation.
Yes.
And so if you want to manifest something, or if you're not manifesting something, check your energy, because there's a chance that you might be off, and all you need to do is just go watch a movie for 2 hours, or go take a nap, or go outside, or turn off the social media. Turn off the news is a very easy one.
Easy, yeah.
That's not feeding you anything positive.
Do some laughing.
Oh my God. I don't know, have you met Matt Kazam? Have you met him? Oh my gosh. He's a humor scientist. He's amazing. He's so funny. And he uses laughter in the workplace to really help with conversations and leveling up leaders. Shout out to Matt if you're watching. I mean, laughter is huge.
Laughter is huge. I think another thing is that I can always look back at a lot of the things that, like I said before, where I'm like, Sparkle, what? What were you doing?
Yeah.
And I have to laugh about it because whoever's with me, they'll be like, yeah, what were you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. But you can laugh about it now.
Laugh at yourself. And I always do this too. Right after my 4 days, when I'm, just not the Sparkle you want to be around, I always go, woo, I look at myself in the mirror and I go, Sparkle, you're a real piece of work.
It's so funny. I do something very similar. And I always laugh when people say, like, casually, we're like-minded. I'm like, oh, no. Please.
No, baby.
No, we don't want, I always say we're like-hearted. You and I are definitely like-hearted, because I don't think the both of our minds we wouldn't be able to do it, because, there's so much. Okay, I want to wrap this up by letting people know how I wish I could go on and on with you, and I think we need to definitely do this again.
I do too.
I would love for people to, could you tell people how they can get in touch with you? I have a little something prepared, but where can people find you, get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing?
Yes, well, I'm on every social media aspect here. I have a Facebook page. It's Sparkle the Light at the End of the Tunnel. My Instagram, Sparkle Lindsay. My email, sparklelindsay2@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Sparkle the Light at the End of the Tunnel.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of stuff around motivation, inspiration, a lot of different podcasts on just my philosophy and my lived experience, and looking to involve a lot of other people in on that channel as well. I also, if it's a dire need, obviously the email is really well. Number, I do have a direct number for business. If you are somebody who is struggling, okay, if you need help, I am here and I am available. My number is 719-297-1807. Sometimes a phone call, just somebody to listen, can really, really help you go the extra mile and look forward to something that maybe you thought you never could have, or wrap yourself around that. So just know I am available, and I know it's not easy. So those are the ways you can get a hold of me. And ultimately, Sharice, it is always so much fun to spend time with you. I can't wait for the sequel number 2.
Oh yeah, we definitely. I think we're gonna just tear it up. This is, like I said, when I spent less than 30 minutes with you, and I was just like, yes, how I want more, and I also want to say this: I honor those 13 years that you have gone through, the years of your addiction, the years of all of those things that probably at that time didn't make sense, because it is created the fruit that we are seeing now. And I am just so grateful for that. And I appreciate you allowing me to be a part somehow in the conversation and just receive just your words and your light and your love. So thank you.
Man, and I just want to, I do want to shout out to Michael P.
Yes.
He's the reason why we connected.
Yes.
We're like-hearted people.
Yeah. Mike's good at that.
Really cool. But I think the big piece is being able to branch out to my tribe of people now of spirituality. I am on a mission and this journey that has brought people like you in my life. So I just am so happy to be a part of this and a part of whoever steps into my life, because I know it's for a good darn reason, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to close this out in the High Vibe Zone. Everyone, thank you so much for your comments, for watching. If you're watching us live or you're watching the replay, my amazing guest, Sparkle Lindsay, has just dropped so much knowledge and heart and wisdom. And, I just want to send you off with a blessing of light, love, and gratitude. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the High Vibe Zone. This is Trace and Sparkle.
See ya.
Bye.